Hi, I'm Amanda of Inspiring Inkin. Welcome to my studio. In today's video we're going to be making this gift bag. I'm calling it my gem gift bag because of the sides. It kind of looks like facets of a gemstone. So let's turn the camera around and get crafting. Here is the bag in close-up. It measures 2 3/4 inches square on the base, and it's about 5.5 inches tall. It has got quite a bit of room because of this kind of faceting bit. This is why I call it the gem bag, because it kind of looks like a gem facets. So there's quite a lot of room kind of in the bottom half of the bag. So you can get quite a lot of stuff in it. But we're going to be making a butterfly version of this bag today. So the products for this bag, this is the Dandy Garden Designer Series paper with the dragonflies on. But we are going to be working with the Butterfly Brilliance Butterfly Bijou paper. And just in case you haven't seen this, I do have a craft and chat video that I put up on Tuesday that goes into more detail about all of the products in this suite, but I'm just going to quickly show you the papers. And it's 6x6 papers, so you've got these beautiful butterflies, and that's the reverse. You've got this lovely, this reminds me of a morning sky, and a lovely rainbow butterflies. You've got the coral spots and then butterflies in flight, the pink and coral splodges, and this is the other paper we're going to be using today. And this is actually a scaled down version of this. And this, I think this is my favourite sheet. With the pinks and the teals, and that's the reverse. So those are all the papers. It comes, like I say, it's 6x6, 48 sheets in the pack, so there's lots and lots of patterned paper for you there. And it coordinates with this stamp set, which is the Butterfly Brilliant stamp set, and again this is an exact match of this. And then we've also got these dies. Now I have used one of the dies. Let me just show you. Let me move that out of the way first. So in order to cut out these beautiful butterflies, there is a die that cuts them all out all at once, like that. So basically it goes over the paper and cuts them all out in one pass through your die cutting machine. It also cuts out all of these butterflies all at once as well. So it's very cool. There are lots of other dies in the set, including to cut out these amazing butterflies as well. So lots to kind of get your teeth into, but we are going with this one, and we're going to be using, what else have we got? We've got this paper, we've got champagne foil. Now this I use a lot because it's not kind of in your face, gold coloured. It's kind of like almost rose gold, but like a more silvery rose gold. It's kind of pinkish, but not pink. I don't know. It's called champagne, but it's nice soft colour. I'm actually pairing it with the gold. What's this official name? It's the fine art ribbon, but it's sort of gold linen. But again, this is like a soft gold. It's not kind of a real Vegas gold, I guess. So yeah, so that's going to work really well. And mint macaron because of the butterfly. So This is really quick, this box, honestly. Yeah, am I calling it a box or a bag? It's tricky, actually, because it's kind of a bag, but it's also fairly solid because it's made of cardstock. I don't know. Gem bag, I think, probably. We'll go with bag. Okay, so I am sure you have seen my templates before, but if not, this is what I do with all of my 3D projects. I always make a template. It makes it so easy then to duplicate it again and again. And when you're looking for the perfect size of a bag, then you can just get your templates out and you can find one that's going to work. You need a piece of cardstock that is 8.5 by 8.25 inches, and don't worry about the measurements. All of the measurements will be listed for you. So if you scroll down, it doesn't matter whether you're on YouTube or on my blog, you will find the measurements there. And my blog is www.inspiringinkin.com, and there you'll find an online store. And on YouTube, actually, you will find the links to all of the items that I've used today. And they're all clickable links. It will just take you straight to the store and you can pop all the things that you want into your basket and shop. So we need 8.5 by, no, start that one again, 11.5 by 8.25 cardstock. And the patterned paper is 5.25 by 2.5, and we actually need 2 pieces because we're putting one on the front and one on the back. So I'm going to cut that first. I'll grab my trimmer and cut this. So 5.25, and then we want 2.5. And 2.5. That's those pieces. And then I've got A4 cardstock, so we'll go to 11.5. So you're only taking a tiny bit off, and then it should be 8.25. Which it is. I always give that measurement. Depends on where you are in the world. Your paper sizes might be different, and you might be cutting this down from a piece of 12 by 12. So you need all of the measurements. So the next thing that we need is the Simply Scored board. And the important thing for you to know about my Simply Scored board is that down this 6-inch line, I have used my Sharpie marker and made this darker, and I hope the camera will pick it up. And this is really key to get these lovely diagonal lines. And it just makes it really, really easy to be able to get those diagonal scores. So let's put the cardstock in and get scoring. So we're scoring with the long 11.5 at the top, at 2 3/4, 5.5, 8.25, and 11. So let's do that again. So 2 3/4, 5.5, 8.25, and 11. And then you're going to turn it and you're going to score at 2 3/4 inches. Now we are going to reinforce those score lines. Ooh, that was my trimmer falling down. And we're going to reinforce the score lines and cut these flaps before we do the additional scoring. Now normally when I'm doing scoring I do it all at once, but you'll see in a minute it makes it much easier if you cut these bits first. So let's give this a bit of reinforcing. A bone folder is a really key piece of equipment when you're making boxes and bags and fancy fold cards, anything where the cardstock needs to go exactly where you want it to go. It just does what it says on the tin, really. It reinforces those score lines. So following my template, I'm just going to cut this section off, and then I'm going to cut from the base here up to that score line. So we're just going to do that. So chop that off, and then okay. So let's bring the scoreboard back in from being on the floor. And then we're going to do the scoring. So this section here next to this fold, you are going to score this diagonal cross. And the same, you're going to skip one and score again, and then you're going to score from the top down to the center. So I'm going to do the diagonals first, and then we'll come back to the other bit. So in order to score a diagonal, what you're going to do is you're going from this score line here to this score line here. And if you line it up on that dark line there, and I've got my ball tool kind of pinning it down, then you can slide this around. Let me just check. Is that actually in shot? No. Let me just move it up a little bit. So let's just pop that there. And double check. Yeah. Hopefully we're all in shot now. So I've got the score line there at that top piece. And then I've got this score line here on the dark line at the bottom. And that's why I'm saying that is just key to getting that diagonal score line. Then we're going to go the other way, so we can pop that there. And this is why having cut these flaps is so important, because if you fold that one up, you're going to find where that section is there. Look, there you go. So we're going to do exactly the same on this one. So line it up at the top, line it up at the bottom, and put in your score line, fold that up again, line it there, and line it there. Okay. So the last bit of the scoring is this kind of little score line here, and it goes from the top to that center, and that's what gives you this lovely folded piece here. Now it's easy to do that by just putting the ball tool in and finding the score line and just going up. So you're just going from there. So from that center point, just find a groove and just go up. I know some of you will prefer to have a measurement, but the measurement is in eighths. And sometimes that frightens people. You know, I understand it's a tiny measurement, but it's actually 4 1/8 and 9 5/8. So if you've got a Simply Scored, Stampin' Up! Simply Scored tool, you have eighths. So let me just show you. Let's bring this right up so you can see. So that long line there is the 4-inch line, and then that teeny line there is the 1/8. So if you count it, that's 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, and a whole one. Yeah, so 4 1/8. Okay, that is all the scoring, all the cutting, and now all we've got to do is stick it together. We are going to encourage these score lines to fold though, so we're going to fold it over like that and run the bone folder over it and flip it back the other way and do the same. It's really important to do it both folding both ways. It just, again, this is kind of a fancy fold bag really, and you just want it to make sure that it actually folds and stays folded the way you want it to go. So let's do that. And then this little score line here is a bit more tricky. So what you want to do is fold it and then kind of squash it down. So there we go. So you're folding it in and squash it down. Okay, so this is your glue flap, and that's going to be stuck there. But before we stick it, what we want to do is put our patterned paper on. It's just easier to do it when it's flat. So I'm going to get my trusty Tombow and pop that down. So putting one piece there. And one piece there. And then I'm just going to do a little bit of trimming with these edges, just so it's kind of neatened up. So this section here is going to be the front of my bag. So where the glue tab is going to go to the back. So this is going to be the front section. So I'm just going to flip that base. That's going to be the base section up. And I'm just going to do a little bit of trimming on these base flap sections here. And the reason for doing that is just to help it when you come to glue it. It just takes a bit of the bulk out of those edges. So let's just trim that. Ooh. Okay. Right, so I'm going to fold that flap down, put glue on here, and then if you flip that piece over whilst it's flat, line it up whilst it's flat, it will give you a really nice crisp edge. And then we know this is going to be the front. Can you see the box is already, bag, it's already folding the way it wants to. So we know this is going to be the final bit that's glued. So I'm going to turn it up on its end. I'm going to fold this one down first. And I put glue on all of the layers. It's not necessary. I just like sticking them all together, really. It does depend what you are actually going to put in the box in there, you know, in the end. But I like to cover all eventualities. So this is the last piece, and I'm just going to line it up and just make sure that I don't need to trim it a little bit. Sometimes you do. And I am just going to take a tiny sliver of these edges. That's kind of where the score line was. It's not quite as neat as I would like it. So there you go. So let's pop that on there. And then pop that down. And then if you put your hand inside, that'll give it, ooh, that will make sure that it's all nice and stuck. So if your box hasn't started kind of naturally folding like that, then just, so if it's kind of like this, then just squash it here and then squash it at the top. And what we are going to do is get my hole punch and punch a couple of holes. And then we're going to get, so that's the butterfly that I die cut earlier. I've used a 2-inch circle punch for that piece of champagne foil. I'm just going to pop that on there. And then, ooh, I should have done that earlier. So because this is a wet glue going onto foil, foil's quite slippy. So it just takes a second or two to grab. Okay, we'll just let that sit there for a second and we'll put the ribbon in instead. So I'm just going to cut the ribbon on an angle so that I can thread it through. Just makes it easier to grab it. And I always try and keep the ribbon on a roll. It just then means that you don't waste as much by cutting a piece off. Now I'm going to turn the bag upside down to tie my bow. This is a great tip. If when you tie a bow, the tails of the bow don't kind of go where you want them to go. If you tie it upside down, I don't know why. I don't know the science, but it really does help. So let's tidy that. And then I'm just going to tidy that tail there. And that tail there. And then let's get this stuck down as well. And then the bag will be finished. Let me just pop that up and pop that down, but that butterfly isn't quite where it needs to be. So stay. I think actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some dimensionals on there instead. And the same on here, because then I know it will grab it and pin it down exactly where I want it. So we will pop that just there in the center. Do the same with the butterfly. Actually, do you know what? I'm going to punch out another piece and do that again, because the Tombow has smeared and that doesn't look as pretty. So let's do that again. I'll use the other one on another project where a bit more of it's covered over. There we go. I'm just going to bend these wings up a little bit so it kind of looks like it's fluttering away. And then we're going to pop that there on the centre. Now obviously you can add a tag or do whatever other additional embellishments that you want, but there is the bag finished. So you've got the lovely patterned paper there on the back as well. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed making this gem bag. All of the products that you've seen today are available in my online store, and you can click on the links below to pop over to my online store or go to my blog, which is www.inspiringinkin.com, and you'll find a shop button there as well. Do subscribe to my YouTube channel and my blog. You will then be the first to know when I've got some more creative inspiration for you. I hope to see you again soon. Goodbye.